This is the Mobile Tech Podcast, brought to you by worldpodcasts.com. Now here's your host, Tech Girl, Miriam Joie.
Brought to you by Mint Mobile. Stay tuned for a special offer at the end of the show. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Joie, and today is Friday, October 4th, 2024. And I've got the awesome Daniel Bader here with me. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Hey, Miriam. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being back. We're going to nerd out about one of our favorite topics, earbuds.
Earbuds.
I have missing one pair that you have, but I think all the other ones are good to talk about. And we also have some, Chinese phone news because, as you know, Qualcomm and MediaTek are coming out with their new chips pretty soon. We don't know exactly when. Actually, we do know when for the MediaTek, and we'll get into that. But the point is, that means an avalanche of Chinese market phones are coming, which will be followed for some of them by the global or US models, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're seeing more of these bigger Chinese-only flagships launch in Europe, at least, which means that we in North America can finally take advantage of them. I just got my Xiaomi Mi Mix Flip.
Me too.
Meant for the European market, and I've been really enjoying it. So
we can talk about that for sure. Actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts because I had a section in there to say, hey, it's gone global now. And mine just got in and I played with it. It's pretty great. Yeah. So earbuds, what are your favorite earbuds right now, Dan?
So weirdly, my favorite not even weirdly, my favorite earbuds right now are the OnePlus Buds Pro 3. I've been so impressed with basically everything about them. I wasn't really expecting to because I liked the OnePlus Buds Pro 2, but they didn't really blow me away. I typically stick to the accompanying earbuds for the device that I use. So if I'm using a Samsung phone, I try to use Galaxy Buds. If I'm using an iPhone, I try to use AirPods. And if I'm using a Pixel, I try to use Pixel Buds. But I've been changing phones a lot recently, and the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 just stay in my pocket. And that wasn't something I expected when I got them in like early August. So yeah, I've been really enjoying them so far. What about you?
Yeah, I really dig them. They're at the top of my list. I can't make up my mind if I like them more or less than the Nothing Buds Ear, the regular top of the line ones that are now no longer numbered. Would be 3 if it was, if you pay attention to the evolution of them. For me, it's possibly a fit difference, which might be why you might not have them as your top. But in terms of sound quality, they're so similar to me. And ANC is not what my primary use is for them. As long as I have some ANC, I'm happy. I'm not using those on planes. None of the earbuds we're going to talk about, I'm going to use on planes. I have a pair of Sony, WH-1000, I don't know, the number 5 model or 4 or whatever I use. The ones that fold, I think that's the 4. But I think for me, what stands out is, all of these buds we're going to talk about are pretty damn great. And they're not super expensive. And it's really hard to put them in a scale because they're so good. At the same time, I agree with you that the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 are probably up there as my first or second right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not shocking to say that Nothing has kind of come out of nowhere to create an ecosystem.
Yeah, they have.
That has blown a lot of people away. I think by being very careful about the products that they create and having a unified design idea around what their products look like and how they work, they can get away with taking some features off, right? Like the ANC isn't best in class, but it's okay.
Right. Same with battery life, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they look good, they're comfortable, and they get the important things right. And the same is true of the Nothing Phone 2 and the 2A.
Yeah,
like
100%.
They're just good products that you don't really have any way to nitpick.
Yeah, I'm going to show the OnePlus Buds here for the Patreons. These are the latest. I've got them in this cream color. So if you're watching on video on the Patreon, folks, this is what they look like. And they have wireless charging, but the coil's in the front, which is really weird. So I don't know. I've never seen that before in a device. But hey, whatever works, right? The other ones I want to show you are the ear, because those are the kind of, for me, the toss, right? So these are the ear. I've got them in white. They look exactly like the Ear 2 and the original Ear. So the box has gotten a little smaller, I think, from Ear original to Ear 2. And then Ear 2 to this, it's almost virtually indistinguishable. But they're not interchangeable, which is really interesting. Also, they all have wireless charging. The original Ear to me were like their first product, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty impressed. But there was a lot of issues with software and connectivity and stability and stuff. I feel like you were buying into the brand the first time more than getting the best product possible. And then Ear 2 was really great. And these new ones, I think, are even better. But the secret thing, and this is what I brought it up in the subject and the topics, is my actual favorite of all of the Nothing earbuds are these. So I'm going to be very controversial because, in my opinion, the sound quality difference between the Ear A, I've got the yellow ones here on video for those of you who are watching on Patreon. First of all, the case is really cool. It doesn't have wireless charging, but the yellow is really cool too. But I find that you're getting for $100 a pairs that I can't tell them apart sound quality versus the main Ear, which are $50 more, or maybe less than $50 more, like $30 more. And so I'm like, now you don't get 10-band EQ. So you only get 3-band EQ. And for me, with the 3-band EQ, I was able to tune them right. In fact, I'm not using the 10-band EQ on the Nothing Ear. I'm just using the 3-band EQ because it's virtually the same setting as on the Ear A. So for me, it's like, if I had to, cost was an issue, I think number one would be the Ear A. If cost was not an issue, number one would probably be the OnePlus or the Ear regular. That's kind of where I'm at.
It's interesting too. The OnePlus, compared to a lot of the other earbuds on the market right now, are actually cheaper, right? At $180, they're significantly less than the AirPods Pro or the Pixel Buds 2.
Yeah.
Like they're good value. And it's interesting because this week, Soundcore came out with a new pair of its Pro earbuds. I don't have them, but I spent this morning watching a bunch of reviews, and a lot of them are saying that while Soundcore used to provide a ton of great value at like the $130 price point, these are not competitive anymore at that same price point. Like they're just not. They're not good for ANC. The audio's too boomy. They feel cheap. Do you have them? Did you get them?
No, I tend to focus on core brands. What meaning companies that don't just make earbuds, except for Sony. Well, no, wait, Sony makes phones. Okay,
well,
so
maybe
they make phones. Yeah, sort of make phones, but we love their phones, so we can't ignore them. I'm just saying that I don't have a lot of like the Anchors or the, what is that other brand that used to make headsets for telephony and then became a thing? Jabra, right? Like, yeah, they're not my go-to. Like I've used them. I actually like the Jabras a lot. I've never been impressed with the Anchor products. And I have to admit, it's been 5 years since I've tried a pair of Soundcore. Things are very different these days. And I love Anchor products. Like they're one of our sponsors, actually. I love them for their charging infrastructure products. They're one of my go-tos for that. Almost all my cables and charge around the house Anchor. So kudos to Anchor, but I feel like Soundcore has never really been my thing in terms of quality and stuff. And sound quality, like that's the other thing we should talk about. I'd love to hear your scale, because for me, sound quality is the top. Fit is probably the second, or like they interchange. Because I give you an example, right? The Sonys, the WF-1000 XM5 or whatever, the latest, they sound the best yet still, but I can't wear them for more than like half an hour. Yeah. Like what's the point? Right, like they are incredible. But here's another thing: the LinkBuds S, which are last year's, a bunch of LinkBuds just came out, and I need to talk to Sony. I didn't even know. Sony always forgets about me. But the LinkBuds S from last year, to me, sounded worse, obviously, slightly, than the top of the line XM5s. But fit was so superior that I went to use those. I actually used them extensively. This was a year ago, before all the earbuds we're talking about existed. And you pointed out something that I think is really important that the audience understand, is that there's been such a huge step up in quality and performance and ANC and fit and battery life and everything in the last year, right?
It's been, I think, very quiet, right? Like a lot of...
Ironically.
It's true though. Like That's a good one. So I think what's funny is that like there haven't been any major innovations on the standard side, right? Bluetooth 5.4, maybe Auracast a little bit.
Auracast is
Some
super cool.
Auracast is great, but like it's not even available yet. But like LC3, LHDC, like lossless codecs have not really like caught on as well as I had
Yeah,
hoped,
I,
right?
I
Like
agree with you. But see, because nobody's standardizing. I think should talk about that. One of the drawbacks of the OnePlus is that they only do LHDC, and so you need a OnePlus or Oppo or Chinese phone that does
yeah.
LHDC. That includes Honor and Huawei. But if you don't have that, you get back on AAC, which is arguably not the best. Whereas the ears and the ear A's do LDAC, which to me is part of the reason I can't make up my mind which one I like, because it depends on what device I'm using, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the main issue that I'm coming across is like when you get the big updates, right? The Sennheiser Momentum wireless True Wireless 4 that are supposed to be like the audiophile earbuds, or even the Sony WF-1000 XM5s. They're still bulky. The design is not as, I would say,
Polished.
like yeah, it's not comfort first, right?
Correct.
And I think what's happened this year is that companies like Samsung and OnePlus and a few others have settled on this stem style design
Yeah,
because they
Apple
generally
nailed it.
are
Yeah,
comfortable.
100%.
But then we're sort of bifurcating the market between audiophile style earbuds that are not designed like that, because you can get a better seal with a better, like an egg shape, for some ears. And then conversely, you have all these big players, Samsung included, whose products, as good as they may be, just look like AirPod clones. And that undermines the reality that they're actually really great products that have their own benefits over the other design or even the AirPods themselves.
I agree, but I think the reality is, you and I are looking at this as audio. I wouldn't say audiophiles. I call myself a reluctant audiophile. Just kind of like Quinn at Snazzy Labs, right? Like him and I agree on this. We've talked about it. He's been on the show. It's like I am an audio freak, but not an audiophile. I really love sound quality. I've had years of working in the audio industry, but I'm not one of those people snake oil stuff. Like that's also why I think that these designs we're talking about are going to win in the end, because the audiophiles, like, or if you want to call them the Sennheisers and the Audio Technicas and the Bears and the Bang & Olufsens and the Bowen and Wilkins and everybody else who doesn't make phones, who just makes earbuds.
Yeah.
And Sony is kind of at the edge of that, because they also make some very consumer-friendly ones, like the Link Buds S that I mentioned, but then they make these super audiophile ones that are like really amazing sounding but uncomfortable. And they're going to eventually have to turn the page and go to the comfort, because you cannot wear a pair of earbuds if it's not comfortable, number one. That's probably the most important thing. Even though for me, sound quality is number one, I think fit for most people is number one. And also, the reason the stems exist is because the mics are closer to your mouth, and people make phone calls. People are on video calls. You can't have a pair of earbuds. If you're going to have a pair of earbuds that's dedicated for music, I say get some IEMs with passive noise canceling and a cord hooked up into a Bluetooth LDAC receiver, and you're done. You get the best of both worlds. But I don't think people do that. And then I feel like it's a compromise. And I think the buds we're talking about now, the OnePlus, the Galaxy, which we're going to talk about, the Nothings, and Apple, of course, are kind of nailing it, because you do maybe sacrifice that sound a little bit, but not that much. I think that when I listen, particularly to the Galaxy Buds, it's interesting because I can't make up my mind if I like depends on the music I'm listening to. Even though I've tuned the EQ, you and I have shared EQ curves.
Yeah.
Like we have entire chats where we share EQ curves, guys. We're such nerds. It's awesome.
It's my favorite thing.
I know, that's how Daniel and I keep in touch. It's like, oh, check this out. But like to me, the OnePlus sound better long term, and the Galaxies sound better short term. Like if I put the Galaxy on right away, I'm like, oh wow, this sounds incredible. And then 10 minutes, an hour in, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little tired now. Whereas with the OnePlus Buds, it's like, oh, it sounds good, but like, and then an hour later, I'm like, oh man, so good, so freaking good. And same with the ear, the Nothings. And also want to talk about briefly at some point about these crazy ones. The Nothing Ear Open, which came out last week. I didn't cover them on the show, but I've been using extensively. I don't know if you've had them.
No, not yet.
Anyway, and then I want you to talk to us about the Pixel Buds, because they're coming today for me, and you've been using them, and we're going to share Q curves later this weekend, hopefully. What is your take on those?
So, yeah, coming from the OnePlus Buds, coming from the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, coming from I've also been using, I got the Xiaomi Buds 5 a few weeks ago, which are AirPods 4 like, where they're open buds, but they have ANC. And as a result, I went back and I used the Xiaomi Buds 4 Pro and the Huawei FreeBuds 2 Pro. I never got the 3 Pro. And like all of these couple-year-old, ANC earbuds that I used a little bit, I wanted to go back and see like how far have we come. And doing all these side-by-side tests, I realized the Pixel Buds are really not meant for audio files or audio freaks.
That's always been my feeling.
Yeah. And this is a better version of what they did in 2022 with the Pixel Buds Pro. Like, absolutely. They are easy listening, comfortable. The gestures are great. They're small, but the fundamentals are missing. The microphone is not great. ANC is just mediocre. The transparency mode is excellent, so I'll give it that. Battery life is not great, and worst of all, I found that like the way that I use my earbuds, I use a single earbud to listen to audiobooks or podcasts a lot while I'm walking around doing the dishes, blah blah blah. And I realized just how helpful having a physical squeeze gesture is on an earbud. When the second my fingertip gets wet, I cannot change anything on the Pixel Buds anymore. And it's like that little quality of life degradation immediately makes me not want to wear these, because now my favorite earbuds, the OnePlus Buds, they use the AirPods gestures. And as much as we like to say they're clones, like the squeeze gesture is just freaking great and it works every time.
Exactly. And guess what? Galaxy's doing the same thing, Samsung with the Buds 3 Pro. And so, I think that, how the smartphone world became a slab of glass that mimicked the iPhone in many ways, like, but everybody added a little bit to it. For a while, it was a bit of a Wild West. We had keyboards and stuff, and then it all settled into what we have today. And I think this is what's happening with earbuds. They're finally maturing. And I think the stem design with squeeze gesture and touch gesture for volume and stuff is where we're going to land. Everyone will land there, for better or for worse, until something better comes along. I personally, with the Pixel Buds, although I don't have the new ones, with the old ones, I never liked this weird horn thing that they have. I know for some people it works, but for me, it's like, I feel like, honestly, comfort, the ears and the ear A's are number one, OnePlus number two by a long shot. Like they're all clustered together at the 95 plus percentile. Then a little below that are the Galaxy Buds for me, like maybe 90. And then, then it falls off a cliff after that. Apple is up there. Actually, let's talk about Apple. I actually don't have any Apple earbuds. I've listened to them randomly, but not long enough to create an opinion. How are the new, well, not new, they're a year old now, but the Pros? Like, where do you rate the AirPods Pro 2 in this lineup of what we just talked about?
They're right at the top. They're right at the top. ANC is like,
sound is really great too.
Very good. I don't love the sound, but I don't listen to enough critical music. Like, I don't use my earbuds for critical music listening very much. So for me, they're good, right? They're not better than the Pixel Buds or the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro.
But are they better than the Pixel Buds?
Yeah. Oh, yes. 100%.
So they're up there with the OnePlus and the Galaxies and the ears. Okay, good. Yeah. See, it's interesting because like your use case is more podcast, one ear. My use case is I walk to the coffee shop for 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or go to, get lunch somewhere at the sandwich shop, and I wear my earbuds to listen to music. Mm-hmm. Just music. And I need ANC because like Otherwise, I'm blasting the music and it's unpleasant to have all that extra sound. Which actually brings us to these, the Open. They sound fantastic. Out of the box, I barely had to EQ them, which blows my mind because the bass, I'm not a super bass heavy person, but there's enough bass out of the box to be like, wow. And also, you can't hear them from the outside very much. Like they have ANC, but not for you. They have ANC for other people not to hear your fact that you're using open earbuds. And these are, they do sit right in above, like outside your ear. So like they will go like this in this ear. See, actually, yeah, this ear. So like this is the driver, and then this is the outside, and it's got that transparent. And they have a big battery and this is a counterweight, so they're super comfortable because of it. And I think the battery might be in here. It's very cool design. A bit bulky though, because the case is a little big. And it's a pretty cool case, like magnetic and everything. Nothing. So yeah, it's a good design, but I can't deal without ANC. And for $150, they sound fantastic. They fit great. But like no ANC when Apple just did it, when, Xiaomi just did it.
Yeah.
Like they should have tried something.
I don't think it would have worked. I think the fact is that
it works
ANC,
for the outside. So maybe.
Yeah, but it does require, like, I agree with you in theory, but I think what Apple and Xiaomi and even Samsung tried with the Galaxy Buds 3 is objectively ineffective. Right? Like there's only so much cancellation you can do when you have no passive isolation. And I'm impressed with the AirPods 4. I've used them outside with both ears, listening to music. And I've done the same with the Xiaomi Buds 5. I've done the same with the Galaxy Buds 3. And I'm not impressed. Like, objectively, I'm amazed that it's possible. Right. Or subjectively, I'm amazed that it's possible. Objectively, I'm not impressed. Like, it still lets in way too much. It does not cancel out nearly as much as I would like. And I don't find it useful, right? Like, why are you doing it if you are still wearing an open earbud?
Does it reduce the noise level on the outside enough for you to not have the volume cranked all the way up?
Yes, but only for certain frequencies. So the issue, passive isolation plus ANC is already not great at canceling voices, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sitting down at the coffee shop, you're not canceling out the things that you want to cancel.
Yeah,
what this does is it's okay at canceling lower frequencies,
like drone noises, fans, airplane engines, or whatever,
cars passing by.
Yeah.
It does an okay job. You're still hearing them, but it's not unpleasant. But the second you sit down and you start getting the ambience of a coffee shop or any other area with people talking, it's almost like you're not using anything with ANC. And I guess it depends on your use case, but I doubt it would be that effective in an office. I doubt it would be that effective on a plane. And I'm just wondering, for whom is this worth the extra $50?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go out and buy a pair since I'm in San Francisco for a few days. I'm going to Detroit for a week for a car thing, and I might as well try them out on the plane, and then I'll return them because I know I'm not going to keep them. Apple's return policy for the win. But I'll let you know because I'm really curious because, I think what this conversation that we're having illustrates to me, which is really interesting, is how fit is so specific to people, which I keep telling them about earbuds. It's like, I recommend a pair, but I'm like, you need to try them. Like, I cannot tell you they're the right fit for you.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, use case. You're doing podcasts mostly with one ear. You're doing the dishes. I do the dishes a lot too, actually, with my earbuds, but it's both of them with music. And for me, it's a music thing. And then, I think also our priorities. Like, to me, fit and sound quality up there, probably equal. And then battery life, I could care less because I'm using them 10 minutes at a time. Like, yeah. And then ANC, as long as it's got some ANC, that when I'm walking down the street, I feel like I can listen to my music mostly and the rest of the world fades away mostly, I'm good. Like, I don't need it to be like, if I want ANC, I'm gonna pull out my Sony's, my WHs, right? Like I've got as I said, the XM5s, but I use those in Vancouver at my desk mostly, and I've got the XM4s, which I use on flights because they fold and they still sound great. So that's kind of like the brute force ANC approach. That's gonna work every time for me, right? So look at your use case, folks, if you're shopping. And I want to show everyone the Galaxies because I have them here. These are Galaxy Buds 3 Pros. I really, really like what Samsung's done with these. I think these are my favorite Samsung Buds yet. For all around, great ANC, great sound quality, great fit, great controls, and I don't know, battery life is pretty good. ANC is good. Like I think if you're in Samsung, also they have that codec from Samsung. So if you have a Samsung phone, a recent one, you get access to that, whatever they call it. They have a name for it.
It's like SDC?
Samsung something codec. Yes.
SLC? Yeah, it's something like that.
Anyway, and immediately I hear the difference. Like a lot of people like, you can't hear the codec. I'm like, I can't hear the codecs. Trust me, I can hear the codecs. Like AAC is fine 99% of the time for me, but every now and then I can hear the sibilance and the transients and the symbols and stuff. Can it slur like smeared? And I'm like, yeah, codec. And it's like the drivers can totally reproduce that. High frequency is really relatively easy to reproduce, especially if you have balanced armature. It's bass that's hard to reproduce on drivers. But I think that transmission is important, and I want to see more LDAC. I want everything to have LDAC because I'm
not sure what happened. Didn't Google license LDAC to be in every single build of Android, even through AOSP?
It is in every phone, but it's not in every earbud. That's the problem. Every phone has it.
It's just bizarre, right? Like LHDC is an open source codec. It should be so easy to implement.
I think it's got maybe because it's Chinese.
It's I think you're probably right.
It's just so, it might be that simple and that dumb. I don't know. Like all I want is, like, I'm not saying LDAC, to be clear, is not fully lossless, right? So like the point I'm making is they're just higher quality, higher bitrate codecs, so they're gonna sound better. Like I'm not against having some lossy codecs on these earbuds. They're not reference monitors. I'm not listening with like my Ademotic IMs, okay, with custom ear molds, which I use if I really want to get serious, and those are wired, and they're passive. There's no active noise cancel. It's just all passive because of my ear molds. But like, at least something that's better than AAC, which should be the default. And the phones that don't support LHDC are a real pain in the butt, and the earbuds that don't support LDAC are a real pain in the butt. And then Samsung is doing its own thing on top of that. Fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think things are good though in this space right now. I'm very satisfied. Like the fact that I have on my desk right now 4 options: ear A, Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Plus, and OnePlus Buds Pro 3, whatever they're called, that are all fantastic. I'm happy. Like this is a good time to be in the earbud space.
It is. It's an interesting time because everything seems to be pretty good, but it's also hard to see where they go from here. Like Google is adding AI and calling that a feature.
Everybody's
Soundcore and JBL are adding they're adding like screens to their cases and calling that a feature.
Yeah.
It's not, I just don't like, I agree with you, but then we're also reaching the edges of what's possible over Bluetooth, right? Not everybody's going to care about high quality codecs.
That's why LDAC needs to happen in LHDC on all earbuds. That's why phones need to gain LHDC. That's why. So there are a few things we can do here. These things could happen. Better drivers, better sound quality yet. Better noise canceling still could happen. But I think in terms of form factor and controls, I think we've found the solution. And the other thing is voice call quality. The best voice call quality so far for me and all the ones I talked about are the Galaxies.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah, they
like
are.
Everybody I call with these are like,
good on those.
Whoa. And I'm not saying the OnePlus are bad or the nothings are bad, but they're not in the same league as the Galaxy. Are the AirPods Pros amazing at phone calls?
Yeah, okay. They are. They're like the thing that Apple does really well is tune its microphones. So its transparency mode is still best in class, and its sound quality, the audio quality. It's good. I would say the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro are the best sounding microphones I've heard of
I
any
agree.
earbuds ever.
100%. Yeah.
AirPods 2 Pro or Pro 2 are very good. The AirPods 4 are slightly worse, but still very good. And then everything else is right below it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the Pixel Buds 2 Pro because I think the microphone in that is actually a regression over the original. And I wonder if it's because the buds are smaller and therefore the microphones are a little bit further from your mouth, or whether they're just poorly tuned. But their noise canceling algorithm is very aggressive. So if you have a lot of background noise or fan noise, the clipping that you hear is really over. It's just like
Are
it
they
sounds
dynamic
super
ANC
robotic.
or can you set it to a certain level of ANC?
You can. It is dynamic, I think.
Because I
believe it's
find that
dynamic.
oftentimes I just set the ANC to a fixed level, especially if I'm in the same environment. Like if I'm walking down the street, dynamic works much better. But if I'm like just doing the dishes, I'm probably set them to high or medium or something because I find that it affects the sound quality slightly less.
But will that won't impact microphone
Oh,
pickup?
no, I'm talking about listening to music.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. In calls, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I've always have to ask the other person, and it's subjective to what their experience is. Some people are able to hear you very well with crappy mics, and some people that like have a really hard time hearing you when you're on a Bluetooth headset, no matter what it is. And so it's like I don't want to judge it too much. Theo, my spouse and producer, is kind of a good reference because we talk on the phone pretty regularly, and I test earbuds with them, and they can pretty objectively tell me like, yeah, these are okay, or these are nah. And like the first time I called them on the Galaxy Buds, they were like, are you on earbuds right now? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, holy crap, this sounds incredible. You sound like you're on your phone. And I'm like, I've never heard
I'd recommend
say that.
There's a YouTuber I like. His name is Aaron, and his channel is X Loud and Wireless. And he does microphone tests for many of the newest earbuds. And he did a good one for the latest AirPods and the Galaxy Buds 3 and the Pixel Buds 2 Pro. And those are like he does a very objective set of tests that allows you to sort of compare directly like apples to apples of the most popular earbuds. So I'd recommend people check him out if anybody's looking for like hardcore microphone testing.
Right.
But
I'll try it out.
Yeah, I'll send you the link after this.
Sounds great. We should move on to talking about other things, but like I want to, praise Nothing. And I'm very happy with Nothing in general. I just got the CMF Phone 1 not too long ago, and it's so freaking good. I know I'm a little behind on this, but they ran out of review units and I was in tier 2. But these earbuds, if you are into sports and you want something open, like I'm not talking at the edge of your earbuds, I'm talking literally away from your ear canals, right? Like you want that. This is the best sounding stuff I've ever heard. Every bone conduction earbud, every sport earbud sounds like an absolute piece of okay, to me, compared to these. Like these are acceptable past the Merriam test. So if you're looking for that, personally, I can't live with them because I need the noise canceling. I need to drown out the world. But I have to say, like the fact that you have these big drivers outside your ear, it's almost like listening to headphones, like open headphones. It's really impressive in that sense. Like the Bayers I'm wearing right now, which are completely open, like that's kind of what this sounds like, but not quite the same level of sound quality. You're not going to get to Bayer levels with earbuds, but very impressive. And I can understand why they want 150 for them, but not for me. But check them out because they're new and fresh and exciting, just like us, new, fresh, and exciting. I want to hear your thoughts on this Xiaomi Mix Flip.
Yeah, I'm very torn because I think so. I've used the Moto Razr Plus most of the summer. I got it in early June. I loved it for a lot of reasons. Right, it's thin. I think it's very fun, and it's got a lot of the essentials. Right, like the software is good. It's got wireless charging. The cameras are decent, but it always felt a little flimsy to me. I feel like Motorola cheaped out a little bit on this generation when it came to build quality.
It's better than last time, I think.
It is. It's definitely better than last
time.
It's not Samsung. Compared to Samsung, it's not even. It just doesn't feel as solid. But Samsung is boring, right? I don't like the Flip 6. I think Motorola did the front display a lot better, and you can basically use any app on that front display, and
Yeah.
it works okay. Xiaomi, I think, splits the difference. The build quality is impeccable. It's a beautiful piece of hardware. The haptics, the specs, like this is an 8 Gen 3, 12 gigs of RAM. The cameras are really good. The front display is limited in ways that I really don't understand. Like the whitelisted apps.
It's such a minimal set of apps. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's weird, right? Like you can't even use Gmail on it. And I'm like, why can I use Uber but not Gmail? It makes no sense. And then there's no wireless charging.
Yeah, well, that's a very Chinese thing. I mean, you have to understand, wireless charging on Chinese phones, especially BBK Group, basically didn't really happen until the OnePlus 8 Pro and a few Oppo phones before that. And now they've embraced it, but mostly only for flagships. And then they're folding phones. Their approach is like, and I can see their point. Like they have a valid point to some extent. You know me, I'm like, if there are two things I keep repeating like a mantra in my life as a podcaster on the show, it's OIS, optical image stabilization, and wireless charging are 100% requirements for every phone I have. But that being said, flip phones and even folding book style phones are kind of a pain in the butt to use with wireless charging because oftentimes the coil is not in a convenient place and they don't fit properly and charge properly on a vertical stance. Yeah. And on flat surfaces, you kind of have to find the right spot. If you're in a car like that has one of those slightly angled ones, you're going to lose the spot as well. MagSafe will solve all this. And I cannot believe that MagSafe 2 has been out for a year almost now, and we still don't have anything beyond the HMD phone that came out, you know, and it's supposedly coming to the Oppo Find X8 series. So let's see if we see more phones this year. But I understand your pain, but their perspective is it's a bad experience. Let's give them more battery life by making a thicker battery. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And fast charging, right? 60 something, 80 something, 100 watt on these, you know.
It's mainly just bedside charging for me.
Yeah,
like I don't have a cable. I have a stand that has a phone spot, a watch spot, and a earbud spot. And I love it and it's working. And this is the only phone that I have that doesn't support wireless charging that I actually want to use as a daily driver. That also said, like, I have two kids. One of them is a toddler. The idea of using a foldable without water resistance at all is terrifying to me. So that is another reason why I'm not putting my SIM in this.
I'm just showing the Patreons, the phone.
But everybody, like everything else about this phone rules. Like I like HyperOS. I think it's come a long way since the MIUI days.
Oh, it's so much better.
And it's just a joy to use.
Solid. Yeah. My take on this phone is, by the way, I've been showing it to you in a case, in case for those of you watching on video. So I didn't remove it. It's a little thicker because of the case here, but it's actually a pretty svelte, pretty nicely made phone. The Leica camera tuning is fantastic. OIS on the main camera is great. Doesn't have OIS on the telephoto, which is a 2.6x or something, 2.5x. Here's the thing, like I think that's been a mistake for both Xiaomi and for Moto on the Plus, the Razr 2024 Plus, is the lack of an ultra wide. To me, the ultra wide is more important. When you have a 50 megapixel sensor like that, you can probably zoom into 4x, probably very acceptably. And yes, a tele would be great, like the Oppo last year, the Find N3 Flip, which I have, which has a really decent telephoto on it. That's ideal, but if you're not going to have one, why no ultra wide? I don't get it. And,
I agree.
And that the lack of wireless charging is a negative. And you know, as much as I like HyperOS now, and you know the last versions of MIUI, I am really annoyed with the fact that it behaves like an iPhone, right? Like you have to swipe from the top left for your notification, top right for the control center. Like I'm not an iPhone user, so I'm not used to that. I'm used to swipe anywhere from the top and you get both. And I know there's rumors of Google changing that, and I'm going to be really pissed if they do. Because to me, the whole beauty of it is that I don't have to think where my finger is. Right now, on a lot of these phones, including the iPhone, it's really hard to tell. Like if you're in the middle area, it's gonna random luck of the draw what you're gonna get. And you know, life is full of, like, as you said, you're fingers are wet and you're trying to, like, you're not going to hit the left or the right side necessarily every time. And I just think it's a usability, like worsening. Like I don't understand. I actually don't understand why Apple did it the way they did. They actually, the way they had it on the home screen phones made way more sense. Notification from the top, control center from the bottom, and then of course with the gestures they had to change the control center from the bottom. But like I don't know, can we come up with something else? Combine the two. Hey, that's how Google did it.
Yeah, I agree.
Rant over.
It's funny. I've been using the Pixel 9 Pro Fold over the last month or so.
Oh, me too. I love it.
And one of the things I like about Pixel phones is that they have a one-handed mode that you can change the default gesture when you swipe down from the gesture area to bring down the notification shade.
Yeah.
And you can't do that on the Pro Fold because there's no one-handed mode because Google doesn't expect you to use the foldable part in one hand. And I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. But as a result, I went down this rabbit hole of like finding a way to mimic the same behavior. What I ended up with was the quick tap gesture that you can double tap on the back that allows you to bring down the notification shade. And because of that, and I've gotten so used to it, I actually use that on the Mi Mix the Mix Flip as the same thing. Like I agree with you. Having to find the right spot on the notification shade to bring it down is annoying. But I know that if I just double tap on the back of the phone, it'll bring down the right notification shade. And I'm happy. But it's weird that it needs to be so obscure to get to that point. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, Android is evolving, but I'm not sure following the iPhone's lead is the right thing. Honor is doing the same thing. The Magic V3 folding phone is incredible. I have one, and like hardware is just wow. And the software, some things are really impressive, like the ability to tap on an image, hold it, drag it to the edge of the screen, and then you get the choice of apps you want to drop it into. And you can drop it, and then it opens like the app and drops the content in there. It's really super cool.
Yeah.
But like that's about the only thing that's super cool about Honor software, because they also do the iPhone thing, right? And you can't turn it off. In the early days of MIUI doing the iPhone thing, with the swipe from the top, left or right, you could turn it off. Now you can't. And but look, it's a great folding phone. I think it's nice to have options. And for those of you in a market that supports selling this and actually warranty it and repair it and whatever else you need, this is a great phone. I've really enjoyed using it a lot. So yeah, cameras are the Leica stuff is really great, and the fact that you can edit the Leica vibe after the fact and stuff is really cool too.
Yeah, I love using these as a camcorder, like holding it up at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Brings me back.
All right, let's rapid fire through some kind of PSA news about some of the things that are coming up. We talked about how earlier I mentioned that there's a bunch of phones coming. We know that because some of them have actually been like officially announced and some of them have been kind of leaked. So on the Xiaomi front, the Xiaomi 15 should be coming on the 20th of October. This is a rumor at this point. And then the Honor Magic 7 on October 30th. And that's incredible because if you think about it, Daniel, we have these phones, like the Magic series would come out normally in the new year, like after MWC or at MWC. Like the schedule is just getting shifted because the chip manufacturers are just launching so early. You know, like I wouldn't be surprised if we get a flagship like MediaTek or Qualcomm phone with the new chips in the US market before the holidays this year, which is the first time.
I don't think so. I think what will happen is MediaTek's launching
on the 9th.
Next week.
So that's the other thing I wanted to point at. Mark your calendar. This is an official announcement. MediaTek Dimensity 9400. We know the name and we know the date, October 9th.
Yeah. And then the 8 Gen 4 Qualcomm will launch mid-October at the summit in Hawaii. And obviously, we have a bunch of OEMs lined up to make announcements alongside, right? So Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo.
Vivo is officially coming October 14th.
Right.
And that's the X200 series and the renders. So I'll put some links in the show notes of the Vivo 200 renders because they look pretty cool, and the rumors on Xiaomi and Honor and stuff like that. So check it out.
I think this is going to be an interesting year, right? The 9400, the 8 Gen 4 look like major leaps in year-over-year performance.
100%.
8 Gen 4 is going to be based on Orion, which is much closer to the custom core design that debuted with the X Elite series earlier this year on laptops. The Dimensity 9400 also looks like a huge leap. Like they're going big again with like, I think it's like an ultra big core and 3 big cores and then no small cores.
I mean, we don't know any of that right now, so
we don't know officially, but the rumors
that's the rumors, right? Yeah, exactly.
have pointed to something like that. And I think it's important to just know that like the fact that we not only got a Samsung tablet in the US with a MediaTek chip, we're getting Xiaomi products with flagship MediaTek chips. We're getting potentially an Oppo product, like a Find X8, rumored to have a Dimensity.
Well, last year the Find X7 non-Ultra had the MediaTek chip too.
That's right. You're right, but not their flagship.
Correct.
And it's not only a practical thing, right, or a cost thing. It's a for MediaTek, it's a PR win when
for sure.
when the big Chinese OEMs are moving over from Qualcomm to MediaTek. There's actual competition here, which will then hopefully push other companies like Samsung to be more open to putting non-Qualcomm SoCs in their devices.
100%. Yeah. No, competition is great. I'm really looking forward to it. I will be at the summit and I will document that extensively. We will have a poolside podcast like we did last year again. That was a lot of fun. I gathered a bunch of people in the pool and set a microphone on the side, and then I used AI processing to make it sound decent. It was pretty great. Yeah. So, the other thing that came out is that the Oppo Find X8 Pro will have some sort of image reflection removal. This is very exciting to me. We've seen this before, but I think we haven't seen it on a finished product yet that shipped, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is an example of like an AI tool that, if done right, could actually be quite impactful.
Yeah.
I'm holding my breath because they only have one example, and it's all very canned, but we'll see. I mean, I don't use Magic Eraser and stuff very much, but like I do try to use AI tools that are non-destructive.
Correct. Yeah. Check out the link I'm going to put in the show notes. But yeah, this is an official thing that, because Oppo keeps teasing it. So it's not like a rumor or anything. And there's an example. And I think things like Qualcomm has shown that we can remove like reflections in glasses, right? So that's one thing that's been real. They just showed that at the summit, I think a couple of years back when the 8 Gen 2 came out, I want to say. And it was really impressive. I tried it out. It worked really well. And then, we've been kind of been waiting to see if it's going to appear somewhere. And here we are. So I think this is, to me, as somebody who edits photos on my phone a lot, these are the things that I'm looking for, right? Like I'm not so, things that are useful on the AI front are extending a 4:3 into a 16:9 if I need a thumbnail. Mm-hmm. That's really helpful. Because I prefer to shoot at 4:3, but sometimes I forget to shoot my thumbnails at 16:9. Maybe removal of some stuff in the background can be useful. I actually used the Pixel, not the Magic Eraser, but the actual AI removal tool on a photo I took at the Electrify Expo here in San Francisco, like back in August. And just after the 9 Pro XL came out, mm-hmm. and I took it for the day there to shoot with. And I had a bunch of things in the background and it removed them perfectly. It looks like you can't tell. Like it's amazing. And some stuff like that, I think. And so reflection removal to me is got me pretty excited, because I think this is one of those things that we all run into. Like sometimes you want to shoot the thing, but it's behind glass, and there's no matter what you do, there's going to be reflections, right? Like you're in an airport, you're shooting a cool plane with a cool livery or something. You're going to have neon reflection on the lens, no matter what you do, even if you go right up to the window. And same if you shoot out of window of an airplane. I know I'm on planes so much. That's the first things that came to mind. But also, reflection in people's glasses. Like I purposely don't like anti-glare on my glasses when I buy the lenses, because the coating tends to flake off eventually, and then it's worse than not having it. But if people take photos of me, it's really obvious that, there's a lot of reflection. So stuff like that, I think, could be really great. And I'm looking forward to seeing useful AI stuff. Like there's so much, like there's some really useful AI stuff. Summaries, generating, kind of headlines for SEO, playing with that based on a summary of an article you wrote, politifying emails, like I have this rule that I try to wait 10 minutes before I respond to an email when I'm agitated about something. So I'm not a complete jerk, but I still think I come across a little hot. So maybe having that make it nicer button is a nice thing. But there's a few things like that to me that are useful, but there's a lot of it that I'm just like, who cares, right? Like,
or just like walk away, touch grass, come back to it an hour later.
Exactly. An hour would be better for sure. But I think AI, there's some AI stuff, and most of it for me has been in photography and video. I think there's so much there that still is happening. So I'm really excited about these features. And then you mentioned Vivo X200 series. I never got the X100 of any kind. I played with it briefly at CES. Brad had one. He works for MediaTek, and it's a MediaTek phone. So I played with it. The cameras are incredible on that phone, and I had the previous Vivo X series up to the 80, I think I got them, and I'm kind of bummed that I haven't been able. They're sending me the cheaper ones, the V series, but they're not sending me the X for whatever reason. Maybe because they're not available globally. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
I suspect that's true.
Yeah, but the bottom line is it's coming on October 14th, so this is a major phone. Keep your ears out for that. And then, of course, the Xiaomi 15 series and the Magic 7. Also pretty important, and we should know about the Dimensity and confirming these core counts like that you mentioned next week. So with my guest next week, we'll be diving into the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 a little bit. And then, if you are in a market that sells the Mix Flip, as we talked about, it's pretty great. Have you seen those Google Pixel 9a leaks? How do you feel about that? Because now, not only do we have kind of confirmed the design, which is a little weird because it's missing the visor, but it also is going to be coming earlier, like probably before I/O, like March.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's the right move. I think launching the A series in May, like it went from May to August to May again. It's a bit of a
very Google.
Yeah, it's a bit of a no man's land. I think you either launch a phone when there's momentum, or you launch it, or like you launch it at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. I think launching it at the same time as a developer conference is weird.
Yeah,
and this makes sense, right? The Tensor G4 was ready. So far, it looks like it's a much more efficient SoC that is enabling more things on the flagships. Costs should go down by the time they get into production. Android 15 will be well into its life cycle by then, so it'll feel like a much more mature product. And generally, they just want to get rid of that Pixel 6 through 8 design language and replace it with the new kind of more mature Pixel 9 series design language. So launching it in March makes a lot of sense. I'm just curious about price, right?
Yeah. Can they keep the price reasonable? Because that phone is so good. Like if I had to have in the US or North America, Canada too, if I had to have a phone that was supported fully by my carrier, by warranty and stuff, and I couldn't afford anything else, absolutely I would have a Pixel 8a right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Amazing phone. And the 9a is just going to be as good. But the question is, the price keeps creeping up. And also, I think losing the visor, it's such a defining feature. You see a phone with the visor from, half a room away, like in a restaurant or something, and you immediately know, oh, Pixel user, right on. And this looks more like nothing phone, or what's the other one that went out of business? The titanium framed one that
Essential.
Essential, yeah. It reminds me of Essential / nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where they lost the visor. Even if they had just an aluminum plate, like I know the camera pod is very, very shallow, which is fine, but like maybe just an aluminum plate around that, just to kind of mark it,
Yeah.
Maybe with a case makers could come in to rescue that. Would be cool.
Honestly, yeah, most people are going to buy a case. I don't think this is a particularly noteworthy design, but who knows? I mean, the renders of early leaks of renders don't really tell the whole story most of the time. So,
although with Google they're generally accurate, this is why I put some weight behind that, because
I don't think it's inaccurate. It's just like it's hard to tell what it's going to feel like and look like in your hand.
Yeah.
And this one, yeah, I agree. The visor would be nice, but I also prefer flat phones. So
Right.
if they're able to thicken the phone, add a bigger battery, and keep the camera housing flush with the rest of the casing, like do it. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, my suggestion was that they would imply the visor cosmetically. Like it wouldn't necessarily be thick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. I see what
Just
you're
to
saying.
kind of for the branding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, this is what is going on. We love the A series from Pixel from Google. So another surprise phone that like did you actually get PR from Moto on this? Like North American, because I did not at all. This came out of nowhere for me. The Moto ThinkPhone 25, which is a Lenovo partnership with Moto. They made a ThinkPhone for CS 2023. I love that phone. I still have one floating around somewhere. And this is kind of a detuned, cheaper version of that. Did you get PR on that at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Think
But
phone.
global PR, right? Like, because I
Yeah.
did not get anything from US PR.
No, no. I mean, this is not a US device.
Or
And
from Lenovo, which was weird.
it's not, it's again, like, it's not a Lenovo product. I think like if Lenovo didn't own Motorola, it would just be a licensing deal,
Yeah, right.
you know?
Yeah. So it's got that aramid fiber back, which is great. It's got the ThinkPhone branding, which is cute. Unfortunately, the eye dot, the red dot on the eye should be an LED in my opinion, like a notification or something. I said that on the original one. So it's got all the mil spec ratings and the IP68. That's basically all the stuff they had on the previous one, but it's detuned a bit because it has a smaller display and a lesser chip. So the lesser chip. It's a Dimensity 7300. Pretty solid chip. That's
It's
what's in the
fine, yeah.
Razer Minus. That's what's in the CMF Phone 1. And it does have a 50 megapixel main shooter with a YS. And it gains a telephoto 3x, which the previous phone did not have. It had like a stupid 2 megapixel sticker camera as its third camera. Battery's a little small at 4310. But it does have wireless charging and 68 watt wire charge. That's the same as before. But it's interesting to see that it's not coming to the US. Why do you think that is? You think Enterprise doesn't care here? They all buy iPhones or something?
Yes, I do. I think market share here is just a different story, and there's no interest in this phone. Like maybe 5, 7, 8 years ago, when Android manufacturers could market their products as like more secure, right? Like when BlackBerry had disappeared and there was actually a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's true anymore. I think most companies will buy a fleet of iPhones or a fleet of Galaxies, and that's
Or a fleet
it.
of Pixels, even if they're crazy enough.
Eh, I don't know
You think
about that. We'll
happens?
see. My friend famously told me the story. He works for an elevator repair company, and they bought all of them Pixel 6s. And as you are aware, the Pixel 6's modem was so bad that getting service on that thing was really tough.
Right.
Doing it in an elevator shaft, particularly difficult. So they bought like 100 of them and had to return all of them.
Oh, man.
And got everybody an iPhone instead. And that just wiped out any chance of them going back to buying a Pixel for Enterprise.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, this ThinkPhone looks cool. It basically looks like a rebranded version of one of their existing phones, but with the bulletproofing adding, like the material changes, and the Edge 50 Neo actually is the one it's spec-wise identical to, but with, again, the mil-spec rating and aluminum frame and all that. Actually, does it have an aluminum frame? It looks like plastic to me. That's one of the nice things about the original. It was all aluminum, and the back was this really cool carbon fiber thing that's aramid fiber, essentially fiberglass. But yeah, I'm always a fan of weird Android phones, and this qualifies as slightly weird, so I'm on board. Speaking of weird, well, not weird. Transsion has two brands, Infinix and Techno, and they have made a Techno folding phone and flip phone Gen 2 that came out this year. And now there is an Infinix version, essentially, of the Techno Phantom V Flip 2, but this is Infinix's first folding phone.
Yeah.
So thoughts on that?
I don't really have any. I think this is a company I'm happy exists for markets that are more price sensitive. I think it's interesting that a company like Infinix is also addressing a market that's potentially underserved in this price point, right?
Yeah.
By using less expensive SoCs and slightly lower
Dimensity
quality.
8020 here.
Yeah.
Not bad though. It does have, it's $645 in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, a big market for Infinix is Africa. And I've had a few Infinix phones. They're pretty great. The software is a little janky, but it's getting better. And, this thing has dual 50 megapixel. It has an ultra wide and it has a main with OIS. I mean, not too shabby for that kind of money. And, 3.64 inch AMOLED front screen. It's kind of a mix between the Xiaomi Mix Flip and the Razer Minus, right? Because it has, the display doesn't fully cover the front, but it's a larger display with the cameras embedded in it. But the cameras are laid out like the Xiaomi, not the Moto, which is interesting. So it's got that Moto Razer Minus vibe because the size of the display doesn't cover the whole thing. But then it has that Mix Flip vibe from the cameras being vertical. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what less about the product, which is not remarkable to me, is the fact that other markets are now being served by what we used to consider to be a super premium category.
Yeah.
And it's being done by companies that we don't typically hear about in the US and Europe. So Techno, Infinix, I'm glad that there's still competition in markets outside of North America because Lord knows we could use some of it here.
Oh my God. I need Infinix and Techno maybe should come to North America because nobody knows who they are. They're unknown. So they sound pretty American, right? Techno, Infinix. 70 watt charging, 47 on 20 milliamp hour battery. It doesn't have wireless charging, of course, but it looks like nice metal and glass, the whole thing. Honestly, for $645, this might be better than a Razer Minus, actually. Yeah. Maybe not on the software front because, Moto software is pretty damn awesome, right?
I think, of all the flip phones, Motorola has done the best job by far.
For sure. I agree. I like the Motos, build quality I think is solid. They don't feel flimsy to me compared to the previous gen, but compared to a Z Flip 6 or something, it's not quite there yet. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I love the Motos and I would much rather have the Moto than the Z Flip 6 personally.
Right.
I just don't like One UI very much. That's the bottom line. Well, listen, we should wrap up. Do you want to tell folks where they can find you on the internet, your various social media handles, and of course, tell them what you do over at Valnet. You are managing all kinds of properties over there, so tell us about
them.
I
mean, I typically I don't have a social media presence anymore. I'm waiting. I don't know why. I've just sort of disappeared.
Burnout, man. That's why.
That's
fair.
Exactly.
It's totally fair.
I host the Android Please podcast every week with my friend Will Saddleberg, who I think you've had on the show. If you haven't,
absolutely.
You probably should. So that's my main thing. I oversee 3 websites, Android Police, XDA, and PocketLint, as the portfolio manager there. And I hang out with my kids. I read books. I do non-tech things when I possibly can. I make good coffee. It's the little things in life.
And there's earbuds and aquariums in your life.
So it's not an aquarium actually.
Terrarium?
It's all just grow lights for plants.
Oh, for plants.
Yeah.
Nice. It's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit blurry.
Definitely look like you might have some fishies in there.
I kind of want an aquarium now that you
mentioned
mentioned
it. Well, there you go. That's your next hobby.
That's my next one. I don't know if I can afford it, but thanks for the tip.
Welcome. All right, folks, you know where to find me on the internet. I'm at Tankgirl, TNKGRL, on all the socials. That's Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Insta. And so find me there and follow me and discuss this show with me and let me know what your thoughts are on these various things. Tell me about your favorite earbuds. I'd love to hear that. And, if you have strong opinions about the earbuds we talked about, tell us. It'd be great. The podcast lives at mobiletechpodcast.com on all the major platforms. You can subscribe. Hopefully tell your friends. And if you're first time here, please subscribe. If your app lets you rate or review the show, please consider doing that. There's a YouTube channel, youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast with some videos, unboxings, hands-on, stuff like that. I most recently was in New York for the Samsung unveiling of the new tablets with the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus and the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. So check that out. There's a video there for that. Also, if you are on YouTube, you know how it works. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the bell, comment. You can comment about this podcast on a non-related video. It's totally fine. And then if you want to support and help me, I've mentioned it a few times, there is a video version of this podcast you can get in advance a day or so before the audio version. And that is $5 a month. It gives you every episode I make weekly. You can watch it with my guest and you get, appearances of phones and earbuds and stuff, and it's a little more personal. You can get to see his facial expressions, all that good stuff. So consider helping me out. It does help. I've got a few folks that are being very supportive. I want to thank them all. And if you can't do Patreon for some reason, there is a PayPal link you can click through in the show notes and do a one-time donation, perhaps. That would be great. And also want to thank our sponsor, Mint Mobile. You know I review a lot of phones, so I'm constantly juggling multiple devices. While that's fun, it also means I'm spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. Thankfully, there's Mint Mobile, and that's who I'm teaming up with for today's podcast. If you want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. You've probably seen the Mint Mobile ads featuring Ryan Reynolds, but let me quickly tell you how fantastic their service is, especially for tech-savvy early adopters like us. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current devices and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. The whole process only takes 15 minutes, and if you get stuck, Mint has a great customer service team to get you through it. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning-fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link, mintmobile.com/mobiletech, to get premium wireless starting at $15 a month. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And thanks, Dan, for being my guest yet again. Really appreciate you coming on the show and nerding out with me about earbuds. That was fun.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks a lot, Miriam.
Fantastic. We'll have Dan on the show at some point again in the future, folks, and we'll have a show next week for sure. Until then, cheers, everybody.
Bye.
This has been the Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, proudly presented by worldpodcasts.com. You can visit us online at mobiletechpodcast.com.